Hello there, Deno. On today's topic is Limbo. Now, I have such a weird relationship with this frame. He is actually one of my favorite frames, design-wise, ability-wise, and lore-wise. He's not my top number one. That honor goes to Gauss. I just love him. Gauss is so fucking cool. Second place is Ash. Ash videos coming up. So many problems I have with that frame. He's so good, but he needs some love. But today's is Limbo, which is honestly in my top five, being number five as one of my favorite Warframes of all time. Like I said, he is so fucking cool, and his abilities are so awesome. But he has so many problems that he is just one of those frames that has way too many problems. And I'm gonna get into them. This one might be a bit longer because I am gonna delve into some other Warframes that kind of tie into the whole topic I'm gonna go with today. But on the main topic is Limbo. Now, Limbo is really old, releasing way back then. I think it was what I don't even want to name dates, right? But he's really old. He's one of the not classics, but he's one of the one of the oldest Warframes you could think of, besides the OG frames that were way back in 2013, 2014. But Limbo's really there, and you can really tell by his kit and his whole power. It is weird. It is weird, right? Now, Limbo is considered a meme meme frame that you use to troll your teammates with, because every time a Limbo joins you, or if you're playing Limbo, people automatically assume that you're just gonna be trolling, because his abilities prevent you, or not really prevent you, but like really make it hard for like teammates to do damage to enemies. It sucks, right? It sucks. It absolutely sucks that there's a Warframe in this game that's able to hinder other players, and he's the only Warframe that's able to do that. To my knowledge, he's actually the only Warframe who's able to hinder other players. Not by a major amount, but it is a nuisance, and it is a big enough of a nuisance that it is a problem. Like, so we're just gonna get into his abilities. We're gonna get with his passive because his passive is pretty cool. Because it's the only Warframe with a unique mechanic like this, having his own reality called the Rift. Now, the Rift is a really cool idea and concept. It's a completely different realm. It's like a realm. It's like a realm between realms, between the void and the real world. It's like the in between for both, if I'm not mistaken. It's called the Rifts. And while you're in here, you take about no damage, and you have energy regen while in here. And also enemies. The more enemies you kill, I think the more energy you'll get. Now that's really good for energy economy, but that's all it does while you're in here. It doesn't do anything else. It doesn't affect enemies besides them able to give you more energy. It doesn't do anything to the enemies at all. Now, one of the ideas I thought for while being in the Rift, and this goes for all his abilities because all of them tie in with the Rift, is while enemies are in the Rift, they take more damage, right? It's not like a complete armor strip, and it's not like a crazy multiplier. We could give it 2 times, 3 times multiplier. It might scale off strength depending if how D wants to do it. If it's a passive, then maybe a 2 times, 3 times critical multiplier while you're in there, right? While you're in the rift, while enemies are in the rift, right? So it's not overly cracked because if the enemies are not in the rift, well, you don't get the extra damage that you'll normally do while they are in there. But that's not a thing that you could do in this game. He doesn't have that, and his kit really, it's really, really mediocre. His abilities are cool, but being cool and being versatile are another thing. Now, before you go in the comments, be like, "Yo, no, Limbo's good. You just have to build him in this specific way." No, no. And don't even mention Helmuth, bro. Helmuth is a band-aid fix for any Warframe that's in the gutter right now. And the Warframes I consider in the gutter right now are Inaros, Limbo, and Nyx. Those are the three tops right now that are in the gutter right now. There are probably some other ones that I'm not thinking of right now. Who knows? Oh, and Ash. Actually, yeah, there's four actually. There we go. There we go. I totally forgot. I totally forgot about Ash. And Ash. Those are the like four Warframes right now. Nyx, Ash, Limbo, and Nyx. And Inaros. So that's five actually. So Inaros, Nyx, Limbo. I'm tripping. See, I'm trying to over count with my fingers. But you get the idea, right? There's a select few Warframes are in the gutter, and most of them really just need a tweak or a quality of life update. Ash just needs a quality of life update, which I will get into in his own video. Nyx, Nyx is a whole nother story because the only good thing for Nyx is her four. I don't even have Nyx because I honestly just don't want to play her or bother like buying her prime or farming for her prime. But Nyx's abilities, see that's a doo-doo passive. Mind control is trash, really garbage. Psychic bolts, nah, trash. And chaos. See, this is alright, but you could just put radiation on your weapon and it gives you the same exact thing. And a lot of other Warframes could do this way better. Korvax actually could do this too because of his fucking. Yeah, Korvax could do this 10 times better because since he sprayed this radiation like crazy, and radiation just makes enemies lose their mind anyways. The only good thing for her is Absorb, right? That's the only good thing going for Nyx. She might need a rework, to be honest, keeping her 4 and maybe keeping Chaos and just buffing Chaos a bit, but changing these two abilities overall. These two need to be either looked at or changed. Mind control could be good if you buff it in a certain way. Looks like you only mind control one enemy. Maybe you could. I think you could put it on multiple enemies, but this just needs to be better. Maybe a buff to her passive or a change to her passive. But Nyx is super old. Ash is like also there, but I'm not gonna get into Ash. Like I said, a whole nother video. But Limbo, man, he needs something. So let's get to his kit so I can explain better of what he could do and what he's good at. So his first ability just forces enemies into the rifts, which is cool and all. But as I explained earlier, you cannot damage enemies while you are outside the rift. This goes for your teammates as well. So if any of your teammates are not in the rift, you can enter and exit it freely. Your teammates cannot. The only way for them to enter is through this portal or through his floor, which we'll get into. But the only way to damage enemies is while you're in the rift, like this. Like that. And that really sucks. It hinders your teammates by a shit ton. It fucking sucks. His second ability, which we're gonna skip for now. We're gonna talk about it with this 4. His third ability just marks his enemy, and when that enemy dies, they'll oh what the fuck? Yoink. When that enemy dies, they just spread that mark to other enemies around them. But yeah, as you can see, it really doesn't do much until you kill what the fuck? I am inside a Rift game. Oh, we got exited. Okay, my fault. But it doesn't do anything. Maybe if it if it's like more of a like something like Saren's, where like the spread on it is really fucking good, and maybe it does damage while they're activated. Maybe like they're just more vulnerable to damage while they have it active, which would just make it way better, right? Than overall what it does, because by itself it does jack shit besides put enemies. But if you want to put enemies in a rift anyways, just spam your fucking burst, or not even that. Oh, 4, yoink. Your 4 doesn't do jack shit, by the way, unless you're specifically building for a high power strength bubble thing, where you can actually make use of the damage that the bubble does, or the explosion damage that it does, which is really good for killing like trash mobs. And That's all it's used for. Besides, besides it tying in with its 4, which not its 4, it's 2, which I think is actually one of his best abilities, to be honest. We're just gonna kill the enemies real quick. There we go. Simulate. Gonna unpause the AI. This is a really good CC ability. Because guess what? All the enemies are trapped now. They can't do shit. They can't move while in here. It's really good. But that's all it really does. I feel like this is the one ability that doesn't really need to be changed. I feel like this is just like the change to the void, not the void, the rifts, and the way how his other abilities benefit while enemies are in the rift. Because overall, the rift doesn't do jack for you, besides stopping enemies. It really needs something that, like, this boosts Limbo, this boosts Limbo overall damage. Because like it's good, like his kit is good, but there's so many other Warframes for better CC, better aerial damage, and that's really all Limbo has. Like better, like so he doesn't. So his two things that he's good at, CC and aerial damage, with his 4. If you build it right, you have to really build for his 4 though. Like you have to commit to the 4. Like the moment you build like a high strength Limbo that's able to one shot trash mobs, which is only good for mid to early game. I haven't seen a build in Steel Path that's able to one shot like Eximus enemies. I don't think so. They might, but like that's very boring where you're just spamming your 4 all the time to just do damage when he has other abilities. You know what I mean? Now, possible changes that you could give Limbo is just like I said, it doesn't need to be a big change. It doesn't need to rework an overall kit. It just needs to be a buff to this to the rift part while you're in the rift. Literally, like I said, enemies are either take more damage. That's the only viable thing I think you could get Limbo. It would be unique to him, right? Because like while enemies are in here, you'll do more damage. It's another band-aid fix. But like I said, I don't have any ideas for a rework without changing the core identity of Limbo, which I don't want to change. Which I don't want to change. This buff is 2, not his 2, his 3 and his 4. His 4 should do more because his 4 is your ultimate ability, right? Like because your 4 is considered your ultimate, right? And it doesn't do nothing. You can make this into a smaller radius while having a high duration, so low range, high duration. And it could be really good for defending targets. So anything that has a defense target, really good. But there are other Warframes that do that better. Even Zephyr does that better because her fucking third ability makes it where she doesn't, all projectiles are deflected. So you just sit on top of the objective, and the objective takes no damage, right? Frost is also good for defending. You can even bring out Chroma, which is funny. Just pop his dragon on top of the defense and watch him do all the work, right? It's funny. It's funny that a lot of frames that just do Limbo better. Besides the Rift. Like I said, the only thing he has going is this. He's the only Warframe that's able to access the Rift, which is cool. I like that he has a unique mechanic to him that only he has. No other Warframe can ever get this unless, they enter the Rift by, the portal right there, or by being inside a bubble, right? Or being outside the bubble because enemies can't really shoot outside the bubble either. But teammates cannot shoot inside the bubble. So picture this. You have an Ember, right? We have an Ember where anybody with AoE attacks or like long range attacks, you have your bubble up and there's like a group of enemies in there. Guess what? They cannot kill any of those enemies inside his bubble until they jump inside the bubble and kill the enemies inside. So let me actually visually show you this. Pause the AI. Now watch this. Embarrassing. Yoink. There we go. You cannot attack enemies inside. Or maybe you can. Maybe I'm tripping. Maybe I'm tripping balls. Am I attacking enemies inside? Let me see. I tested this out earlier. I was not doing damage inside. Maybe I'm tripping. Okay, maybe I actually put this bubble in a better position. There we go. Now if we exit, there we go. Maybe that's because I was in the rift, right? Maybe if I'm in the rift, I can damage inside enemies. Yep, okay. But yeah, see, while you are outside the bubble, this is really hard to hit enemies inside this bubble. Right now it's looking very inconsistent because I'm trying to damage these fuckers while inside, outside the bubble, but there we go. What is that buff right there? Oh, Galvanized Chamber. Alright, don't worry about that. I actually have no ammo. Super inconsistent to actually show this, but you'll see. Here we go. This is a good spot. Okay, so it was just hurting the enemies that were outside of it. Okay. Yeah, so enemies inside of here cannot take any damage unless they're outside the bubble. If they're outside the bubble, you can shoot through the bubble and actually hit enemies in the back. Like hit enemies in the back. But while you're there in this bubble, they don't take damage out and from any outside sources. So any AoE Warframes that are trying to, do damage while on the outside can't really do so because of this dumb bubble that just prevents them from doing so. And God forbid that they accidentally go inside your portal and try to attack an enemy and just go look, watch. While you're in here, nothing. Can't do shit. You can't even activate your 1 to like force them into the rift. You can't even activate your 3. You have to exit the rift, hit your 1, or hit your 4, whatever you want to do, enter the rift, and then you can do damage. He's just weird. He's just weird. Only Warframe that has that one weird problem in his kit, where he just affects everybody else's gameplay. And D needs to fix that by either changing how the rift works, by having teammates actually able to shoot through the bubble, or just do damage while being in the rift, right? But like that, it just makes no sense when like, because I'm trying to figure out how you could change like his whole rift mechanic for it to be viable with teams. Because Limbo by himself is actually pretty good if you're just doing everything solo, especially in like just low trash mobs. So I like just basic star chart shit, just basic star chart. He could do pretty well, but once he hits Steel Path, unless like you're running a specific build for him and maybe have like a helmet ability on him, then yeah, sure. But helmet is a bandage ability for any Warframe that doesn't have a strong kit, or this is weak without a helmet ability, or needs a helmet ability to be viable, right? Like Excalibur is really good, but for Steel Path, if you don't have any helmet ability for survival, like for anything for survivability, or just energy economy, so like if you don't have Nourish or I think it was Gloom, yep, Gloom for Excalibur, he kind of struggles in Steel Path because he doesn't have any survivability abilities, which kind of sucks. But Excalibur is really good throughout everything. You could say the same thing with Limbo, but Limbo is just too much of a nuisance for other people, and he's too much of a hassle to build to build him really well, because you need high power strength, you need max range, you need all this other shit just to make him feel good, and all you're doing once you achieve that is spamming his 4. And maybe it's 2 to stop enemies if they don't die. But that's all you're doing. And maybe clicking your 3 to hopefully spread the rift status to everybody else so they enter the rift. But it's just not good. This is not good. It's terrible. He just needs a major buff to his rifts. Or a look at. Just look at D needs to look at the rift and be like, how are we gonna like actually rework this, or like change it to it to be better to actually give you a benefit besides just the damage immunity that you get while inside of it. You're not even fully immune to damage. Anything that's like AoE base wise, I think any Xmas attacks, like there are certain attacks that are able to hit you while you're in here, right? Because I'm pretty sure I remember playing them one time and I was inside the rifts and I somehow fucking died. And I was like, how? And I'm pretty sure I was over there. I think one of those. I forgot what was it called. What Xmas unit it is? Is the one that drops like the little red pool. Yeah, I think pretty sure if you stand over that, yeah, you take damage for some fucking reason, and it sucks. It really does. And his abilities don't need to change. Maybe buff is one, so it like affects a bigger aerial, so you're not constantly spamming it. His 2 doesn't really need to change because stopping enemies is really good CC. And if we actually buff his Rift to make it where they take more damage while inside it, stopping enemies and then doing more damage inside the Rift. They can't do shit to you while you're doing like 2 times, 3 times more damage to them. It's fucking awesome. That would be great to have. It'd be really great. Really good CC for a second. But there are others. Fucking, like Baruch, really good for his sleep. Equinox also has one as well. I'm pretty sure. Ivara has Sleep Arrow. The Loki as well has a CC. So like there's a lot of Warframes with crowd control that this does Limbo's crowd control way better. Aerial effect damage with his 4. There are a ton of Warframes that could do that. Amber is really good. Frost for aerial damage. Oh my god, Frost is really good once you activate a sword. Fucking, if you have the augment too, dude, you just be armor stripping enemies and you're getting overguard. Dude, that's crazy for Frost. There's so many Warframes with AoE abilities and AoE CCs or aerial damage abilities that is 10 times better than what Limbo offers. And it's just sad because Limbo is a cool Warframe with a cool backstory, cool powers, just cool everything, dude. He's so cool. Like don't like he's the only like I said, he's the only Warframe is with his own unique mechanic with the Rift. He's not the only Warframe with a unique mechanic, but he's the only Warframe that has a special mechanic, like a whole different dimension that you can enter, right? It's fucking awesome. That's the only Warframe that has that type of shit that with him going with the whole different dimension. That's fucking cool. It's fucking cool. The ability to stop time is like some type of anime power, like from fucking JoJo. And then you just stop enemies, boom. They can't move. It's fucking awesome playing as fucking Dio, and you're just fucking freezing enemies. That's fucking cool. If you, I wish we had the old freeze time because I'm pretty sure while it was active, your projectiles also froze, right? That was cool. They had to kind of like they had to remove that because it was just annoying to do. But it was so cool. I feel like it should be an augment. Maybe it is. They might have changed it to an augment where your bullets also freeze. It will hold. I don't want it to bring it back, right? Maybe like I said, like an augment. So like a goofy ass like augment you could put on your on Limbo just for fun, right? So you could just stack up a shit ton of like millions of bullets, and then once the bubble ends, all the fucking bullets resume, and then every enemy in the vicinity fucking dies. That sounds cool, but it's just sad. Limbo needs some love. Like nobody plays Limbo. If you say you play Limbo, I'm gonna assume you're only doing it to troll. Literally, his kit is way too weak by itself to be versatile in a lot of things. And for it to be versatile, you have to specifically hard build for one thing for Limbo. It's either aerial damage or aerial protection, right? For fucking defense objectives. You have to really hard build for one, right? You can't have both because having a big ass radius like this doesn't really matter if enemies could just walk in and still damage the target, right? Plus, this prevents any, like I said, this prevents your teammates from doing any type of significant damage while inside. Look at that. Yeah, sure, it looks like it's doing damage, but I'm not. I'm just damaging the enemies that are outside the rift. You see? Kind of fucking sucks. But other than that, um, some news, I guess, because um, I have really not much to talk about Limbo anymore. The next video is most likely gonna be Ash because I have some strong words against Ash. He's my second favorite Warframe, just design wise and power wise. He is an actual fucking shinobi ninja. That is dope. He's actually the only ninja base frame in this game, to my knowledge. I know certain Warframes have skin that make them look like ninjas. Excalibur has a couple of them, but Ash is primarily the ninja, right? And he's weak. He's really good seeking shurikens, armor stripping if you want armor stripping for him, but I'll get in more depth for that video because it's most likely 100% guaranteeing Ash's next. But other than that, besides me having some strong words about Limbo, hopefully I don't get canceled. Maybe there's not. I hope there's not some type of hidden fan base out there for Limbo players that come after me for calling their Warframe trash because he is. He is. He is absolutely trash. In this game, you can make any Warframe viable besides Limbo. Besides Limbo. No, I'm not counting any helmet abilities that might make him better because that's just a band-aid fix for a Warframe that's trash. Okay? I love Limbo, but he's just garbage. Okay? Hinders the enemy, not enemy, hinders your teammates. His kit doesn't really do anything at all besides doing CC, and that's it, and possibly having very high damage with his 4 if you build for it. And that's all. That's really, really all. And you don't see limbos in lobbies because nobody plays them unless you're leveling up a limbo and a limbo prime for the mastering rank. And that's all. That's all you're doing. That's all you're doing. Once you have limbo, he's gonna be in your arsenal. He's gonna be in the back burner of your arsenal. You're never gonna use him, ever. He just needs a buff, not a rework. A rework is he doesn't need it. He doesn't need it. He's not a frame that needs a rework. He's a frame that just needs some love. All right, if D gave him this man some love, he would be pretty good. Pretty good. Like I said, like if you really don't want to change the overall kit of his abilities, just buff his rifts. So while enemies are in there, they take more damage. So then it'd be worthwhile having his 4 up and having enemies stopped, and maybe like maybe just buff. I don't know. Maybe give him a bit more range, like overall base range. So you don't have to really build for a shit ton of range for Limbo. But other than that, no. No, I got nothing else. Like no ideas to like help this man be good. Like I'm not a developer. I'm not a game designer. So all I can really do is suggest ideas, and hopefully they stick one day or another. And I hopefully people agree. Hopefully people agree on my take on Limbo. Maybe not. We'll see. My Ureli take was like all over the place. I am gonna revisit Ureli. I have been experimenting with her more, so I am gonna make another video on that whenever I can. But other than that, you guys have a good one.